Squad level war games, one of the most important food groups in the war game genre. We just got our big old battle pack from Worthington, the Kickstarter campaign that reprints, remasters all the episodes or modules or expansions of the Band of Brothers series, which originated with the Screaming Eagles, continued with Ghost Panzer and Texas Arrows, and then the Battle Pack 1, which is a dependent expansion that builds upon all three prior episodes of the series. You can see they pulled out the art from, a little piece of the art from each of the games there. And if you look at the Texas Arrows, you see, so nicely packaged thematically speaking. And the Kickstarter campaign was the launching of the first edition of Old Breed South Pacific. You'll see a million videos of these out there for the truly connected folks who do the reviews of the pre-production versions of the game, but let's just take a quick look at this. And the reason I want to get this out here now is because even though the Kickstarter is over, Worthington is offering the entire package of 5 games for $250 right now, which is about what the Kickstarter was. That's a chunk of change, to be sure, but it's a well-respected, highly playable series, and this features all new version 2.2 rules for the series. And it's really interesting because you get the great battle manual here, and there's a right on the first page here. I'll just read it to you really quickly. And this is why I love designer's notes, and they're getting better all the time, right? This is from the designer. 1.0, Realism in History. 1.1, why Bob, B.O.B., Band of Brothers, is the most realistic tactical game. Well, while the B.O.B. system is very elegant and intuitive, it is not simplistic. The rule set may be easy, but a lot of work went into the system so that the realism is baked into it, so that realism did not have to be sacrificed to get this simplicity. In fact, I'll make this statement that I believe that B.O.B. is not only one of the simplest systems, it is hands down the most realistic squad-level game system available. Wait, do you mean more realistic than systems that have much thicker rule books? Well, let's see if I can convince you. And this is where I really like it. Now, when I make a statement like that, I immediately get objections like, why are you bashing other games? The answer is that I am not. I was playing Squad Leader in 1979 when I was 12 years old, and I loved it. I have played and enjoyed other tactical games. However, they're just not nearly as good a simulation as B.O.B. Another objection is, well, no game is perfect simulation, so why are you even talking about this? Arg. Yes, of course, until people are actually shooting at you, it is not a simulation. However, that does not mean that all games are equally realistic. Just because we can't attain a perfect level of simulation does not mean we can't strive to make a game more realistic. And that is what I try to do with B.O.B. Excusing obvious and gross errors because no game is a perfect simulation is ignorant at best. So, shots fired, eh? Now, what he's talking about, of course, is the great, Squad Leader. You know it. You remember it. I was playing Squad Leader around that time, too. The great Avalon Hill bookcase game. It's even more. For the sports games, it's scientific, and for the war games, it's a bookcase. It's more like a history lesson and all that good stuff. Now, this is a 4th edition, and I've got so many highlights in here as to make the highlights completely useless. It's like, wait a minute, what's this? What's that? And it was like you felt, like, wow, this is cool. This is intelligent. Now, the beautiful thing about Band of Brothers is that all the action is not in charts, but it's, in the game here. And where do we see that? I'll just read it to you from back here. Okay. Band of Brothers Screaming Eagle is a fast-playing game of squad-level combat. World War II. It covers the exploits of the 101st Airborne in their battles from D-Day through the Bulge. Based on years of research, this game is completely different from any other squad-level game. It is very realistic, but the realism is baked into the system. Players will spread their troops out, fire and maneuver in realistic fashion, not because a rule forces them to, because the system rewards this realistic play. This allows the game to be incredibly simple. There are no combat charts. The game includes infantry, tanks, and artillery. So, there is, and again, I say all this now because it's great that this entire series is available right in one fell swoop. $250, that's a fairly good price for something like this. I mean, that's you remember all these old tables within tables, squad leader, and a squad leader, I mean, it's the granddaddy, you had all the scenarios, and battle, orders of battle, it's kind of like a sports sim. I mean, you've got these guys coming to the game, or the battle at this time, if you're a real stickler for using, exactly as played. Squad leader reference chart. I don't know what I was doing with that red pen. Dad to bring home all those red pens, and then you see, the orders of battle. This group enters, and you park them at certain places. This other group comes in from another area. It's an incredible system, no doubt. But Band of Brothers takes it in a new and exciting direction. And who doesn't want a little more simplicity in the gameplay? So you compare that manual to this battle manual with design notes and interviews. I mean, and the reference material, which Avalon Hill was always great at as well. But I mean, this is just really, this is kind of a gold standard for sure, about the battles, about the reference work, and the designer's thoughts. I mean, I think that's incredible access to the mind of the designer, the mind behind the game. You can't really go wrong with that, and the smartest companies are the ones that are out there the most with that. Obviously I was playing in the late 70s, early 80s. I got all my squad leader counters and my nice little international coffees, instant coffee tin and all that. And we've already talked about the leader characters. I've talked about how I've tried to incorporate leadership into the game of APA football. But let's first, I want to show you another one here that, and I'd be curious to hear if you've gotten any experience with it. And it was a company that was kind of an Avalon Hill competitor. I mean, I don't think they were a close competitor, but Yaquinto. And this game, Close Assault, a man-to-man game of squad tactics and command, Europe 39-45. It's a slipcase game, not a bookcase game. But this is that period when games were getting even a little more esoteric, a little deeper. And it's like, how hard is your game? How difficult is it? This one actually is, I guess, I don't know, level 2, 3, and 4. Or is it the unchecked one? I don't know. This game is designed for experienced players, very complex and detailed in its treatment, recommended for veteran players with a high interest in the subject matter. Optional rules, additional detail for infantry, and rules for using vehicles. And it's amazing how much they're really touting the complexity, because it's a fairly small box. Should I do it? Should I do it? It's shrink wrapped. It's unpunched. Oh, man. All right, I'll do it. I'll do it. But I also want to unbox Old Breed South Pacific, which is edition 1, first edition in the Band of Brothers series. This is a first edition. The others are second and third editions. Okay, so here's the slipcase game. This is kind of a, not to be oh, interesting. Well, there you go. That's a way to do it. Oh, it's, get out of here. Are you serious? It is a record. I never knew that. It's essentially like an LP. Oh, that's incredible. Now, Yaquinto did another game that I really liked, was World War I aviation, just called Wings. And that really has had a certain following, I think. It was definitely more complex than something like Rick Coffin's Wars. I think actually Squad Leader, was the easier game at the time. But this is going back in the memory a bit. So how do you get this out of here? Wow. Well, all right. What's going on here? Can't open the bloody thing. So just showing you the evolution of squad level combat games. So there's some interesting terrain in Yaquinto's Close Assault. Completely unpunched. I mean, nowhere near the number of counters, obviously, as, you know, and really even a little smaller, too, in terms of the writing there. That's fairly impossible to read. In any case, charts, baby. Oh my God. There you go. Game card. That's, Alright, so that is a game card. This is a vehicle card. Wow. So this is how it started, and this is how it's going. We'll go with that shtick. All right. A little piece of forest came out of here. Oh, they had the little plastic bags back then. Oh my God, there you go. See, that's it. The more dense it is. I was just waiting for a highlighter. Look at that. Oh my God, that's amazing. I see Close Assault on the eBay circuit. Not too infrequently, maybe about 40, 50 bucks. But now, let's take a look at, unboxed, not unpunched, but we took the shrink off here. So now let's take it forward. That's kind of incredible. I had no clue that it's like an LP. You could score a couple of, Marine marching band records in here if you want. So that's how that goes. But in any case, so let's crack open now the brand new first edition Old Breed South Pacific. This is the production version. Like I say, Worthington is offering up the entire Band of Brothers series right now with a version 2.2 rules for $250. The components are pretty hefty here. You can't, oh man, I mean, it's a far cry. Although I gotta tell you though, I liked that kind of, I like that aesthetic, the squad leader. And I also like the kind of that grayish and simple. I mean, it's a very different thing, you know, the aesthetic there. So, but this is brand new and well thought out. I mean, anyone who played squad leader and took it all the way to here, that is, you know, and look at the scenarios. I love it. Okay, just tells you what units to use. Obviously, you're talking about much more design work in the counters and the rounded corner counters and all. Man, I mean, it's just incredible, and it's great to play war games solitaire. I mean, every game is solitaire as far as I'm concerned, right? Just scenario after scenario, a lot of great stuff there. That's a lot of value. That's a lot of gaming, man. So I think it's that current price right now is quite worth it. There's a lot to read, you know. You don't just pick it right up and go and all that good stuff. You just gotta dig in. It was a nice, it's almost got a video quality to it, which is quite amazing. Oh my goodness. Check these boards. I mean, the components alone, it's just a beautiful game to look at, which I talk about all the time. Wow. That's a far cry. Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, that almost looks like a PlayStation backdrop. Just so obviously, you know, they tell you which boards to use and what combinations, patterns, and all that. I mean, incredible amounts of terrain here, and you're gonna be calculating some line of sight, I imagine. Boy, squad leader, when you were in like the top floor of a 2-story building, and oh man, that was you talk about crazy calculations. And look at those counters. You know, I mean, they're bigger, obviously. Far cry, huh? Not to compare. I mean, look, you don't, it's not a direct comparison by any stretch. And I mean, let's just check out a unit counter here from good old squad leader. Well, in fact, the biggest counters were reserved for our artillery and squad leader, and that's the size you're at here. And then you've got a unit and squad leader, an actual man unit. So that's kind of, again, how it started and how it's going. And of course, you're flipping the double-sided. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. So that's what you have in store for you if you haven't gone combat, squad level combat. And there's your nice tray and your those 2d10s, I believe. Throw that in there. You get a nice. I mean, the components are second to none. For $50, if average it out, 5 boxes, $50 each. You cannot go wrong. That's the amount of enjoyment out of something like this is incredible. Foxholes, artillery fire, bunker, etc. Top quality all the way. Top quality all the way. Great stuff. The rising sun. That is the new version 1, first printing, Old Breed, South Pacific, the latest in the reprinted, remastered Band of Brothers by Worthington. I'm looking at the website, just refreshing now, $250. And you know, for companies that don't have reprints available, there's a great page or group on Facebook called It Forward Wargames. And what works is something like this. You join the group, you go in, and you put dibs. Someone offers up a game. You dibs on the game. They select, use a selection process, random dice roll, whatever. They schedule it. They announce the winner. If you're the winner, you then go to your collection and offer up a game of equal or greater value. And as soon as you get a dibs on your game, then the person whose game you won ships the game that you won to you. Then you continue the process. A great way to share games. There is something like this in the tabletop sports world. Kevin Elias runs something called the Xmas Game It Forward. I think this is, he said this is our 4th annual this year on the tabletop sports Delphi forum. And so that exists there. But if you are interested, even just joining Pay It Forward Wargames is cool because you can see just a bunch of the new games out there and the really cool out of print stuff. I mean, we've got games coming out of our ears: DVG, Compass, GMT, Force Age, and on and on and on. Locked and Loaded Publishing. Like I think I mentioned in the Stuka Leader, the Stuka Leader is coming out from DVG, and there are 2 other Stuka games coming out at the same time. So in any case, check out Pay It Forward Wargames. Maybe check out Xmas Game It Forward. And if you have participated in it, tell us what you won and check it out. Worthington Games. Really great product. Highly recommend it.